Assalamu alaikum. You are watching and listening Riphah FM 102.2, Riphah International University campus radio station. This is Areeba Saleem and the program is The World of Shakespeare. In this program, we talk about Shakespeare, his literary contribution and his contribution to English literature in general. So, as we know that Shakespeare is an English playwright, poet, actor and widely regarded as the greatest playwright of English literature. And if we talk about his birthplace, so he was born in Stafford upon Avon. He wrote almost 39 plays and 154 sonnets and some long narrative poems. So in the previous episodes, we have talked about his personal life, his journey, his education, and his genres of writing. And in this particular episode, we are going to talk about his play Othello. My participant in this discussion is Naqiya. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
How are you, Naqiya?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good, and I am excited about talking about this play Othello. And we have negative virtues, so it is also a universal phenomena that we feel jealous. So the play Othello is all about jealousy and it also explores some also other domains of human nature, like how we can navigate through the feeling of jealousy and how it can complicate someone's life, and also how it brings destruction to one's life, and sometimes it also brings the death of an individual. So let's begin this another literary discussion, Naqiya. So as I have some created the background of the play, that Othello is all about jealousy and love affair and all. So if we talk about his the Shakespeare also wrote with some background, historical background. He covered and some historical facts. He wrote with awareness. So let's talk about the historical context of this play, like what was going on around his world.
Of course. Basically, at that time, Venus and Ottoman Empire were in midst of a tussle back then.
Yes.
What happened was in 16th century, Venus was in a constant conflict with Ottoman Empire, basically over the control of what is Eastern Mediterranean, that kind of place. And the Turks of the play and the Ottoman Empire is the modern Turkey right now. Basically, there was this small island, Cyprus, and that was off the coast of Greece and was basically a very profitable location for trade. So when there's trade, there's money, and it's an attractive location. So Ottoman Empire and Venus were both basically trying to get hold of it. Venus was in influence under Katerina Caranaro, and she was married to James II, the king of Cyprus, and basically after his death, she became the ruler of Cyprus. But what happened is basically, even in the play, what we see is that Shakespeare has written about the time when the Ottoman Empire was in midst of planning and arranging an attack on Cyprus to gain control of that land. However, in reality, the Ottoman Empire had already taken control of Cyprus by then. In 1570 military attack, they had taken it under their control. However, Shakespeare wrote that play before they had taken the control, about the specific, time when they were planning the attack. And of course, the Vietnam military was actually trying to defend its borders as well. But what's really interesting in this, all of that, is the exploration of races that Shakespeare has done, and how deathful, because I guess at that time this was a very sensitive topic. It is right now because, but still at that time, taking that stand and exploring that theme in depth and such uniquely, I think that was a very bold move. What do you think about that?
Yes, and I think like the treatment of race in terms of Shakespeare, if we see, like, it is a very appropriate treatment, and he does not portray the blacks as the negative ones, but he balanced. So I think, in my opinion, his treatment of race was balanced and not in the side of like the biased one.
Yeah, exactly. Because what we see even in today's world, we always associate dark things with bad, right? Even
Yes.
like a black thing is an evil thing or something like this. So taking that theme and really twisting it, he didn't even, you know, try to navigate through it. The protagonist is a Moor, is basically has Arab and Berber Northern African roots, and he is a bit dark skinned, right? In contrast to the villain, you know, the antagonist of the play, Iago, who is
Iago,
basically
yes.
a white skinned man. So, really playing with the themes of darkness and light and how the roles are switched, and how, you know, the people that conceived the dark skinned people as evil and trying to turn that and change their perspective on it. I think it's really, really amazing to see this so early on.
Yes, and also it happens, now as well, the black peoples are, considered inferior. So this stereotypical behavior of the white man is also, explored by Shakespeare, and, Iago refers to Othello as the Barbary
Horse.
horse. So, this shows, the biased behavior of white people at that time as well.
Exactly. We also see a lot of slurs being mentioned by Iago and his views about the racism,
Yes.
and he was a racist and all that. I think that really affected how he thought about Othello,
Yes.
in the whole. But yeah, it's really amazing to see those kind of themes being explored in a play with such amazing. And the thing is, I like that it wasn't a main thing. It was a side
It was
theme,
a
right?
side thing, yes.
Yeah, the main theme was, as you said, jealousy. It was trust
Jealousy.
and mistrust and infidelity. And this was just a side theme because it was going on. But these are also people. They go through normal life like everyone else. We
Yes.
are, as brown skinned people, we go through life as anyone else, right? So we have these emotions we have these emotions of jealousy, we have these emotions of love and mistrust and infidelity, and we have these feelings as well because we are human. So just in the inclusivity of it, all is really amazing.
And
So
also, one thing worth mentioning here is that, he categorized, Othello and Desdemona in black and white sexual terms, like an old black ram in tubing with white ewe. So I think, this also, further solidify this argument that, the stereotypical behavior of the white people, how they treat, how they consider the black skinned people inferior. So I think this is also a universal phenomena, that we have some, stereotypical behavior about other races.
of course. Okay, so basically going into the historic theme about the races was basically the Morocco and England were in very good terms over like 50 years. They were very good in trade terms. They profited of each other, and that helped really. Othello's placement in the military position he was in, putting him right there on the top of, military leader. It really helped him because, of course, even though like his race was not regarded as something, worthy of that position or something, but still his position, his character, and what
Yes.
Morocco, as because at the time Morocco's ambassador also went to visited basically London to advocate for alliance against Spain, because Spain was like a common enemy for England and Morocco at that time. So these kind of things led to Shakespeare placing Othello as a Moor character
Yes.
in such a high military position
And
as well.
I think, Shakespeare wanted to portray this thing, that a man can be, uh, reach at the higher position through his abilities.
Exactly. And
And
it
Othello was a man of abilities, though he has some flaws in his personality. But I think, in terms of his strategy and, war, he was like a capable man.
exactly. So basically, just the themes of everything in this, the feelings and emotion are questioned uh, in terms of the blackness, not the dark skin as well, just the blackness of how the theme of blackness is explored throughout the plays, as we see the character of Iago trying to hide between
In
in the
shadows,
darkness, yeah, in
yes.
shadows and darkness. So that, in contrast to this, is like really amazing. So you can, it's not about the color, it's not about the skin, it's not about the element, it's about the personality, it's about how you, what your basically, intention is towards uh, any other person, any other thing. So I think that really solidified more against this theme of black and white for me.
Yes, and if we talk about performance, then the earliest record suggests that Othello was first performed in 1604 under the title of The Moor of Venus, and it was popular throughout the 16th and remained so well in the 18th century. So it was performed firstly in 1604, and the name was also the Moor of Venus. Okay, let's talk about the characters of this play, and the main character Othello, and we can regard him as a tragic hero. So Othello is unusual, and we can say that he is reactively passive and reactionary, in the end.
Yeah, of
If we
course.
talk about the end, then he can be termed as reactionary.
But what really puts him off as a protagonist is that he did not drive the play. He was
Yes.
not the actually someone who was, actively performing something that will progress the play, progress the story forward. He was just a character being manipulated by the antagonist, Iago. And that was, I guess, the mastery of Iago, but we will get to that.
Yes, I think the Iago, like, he drives the plot
Exactly, he did. And he was the manipulator
because
and
of
the drive.
his like monstrous action and the manipulative power. He drives the plot, and he is responsible for all the things. I think I hate this character somehow. Okay, so we can regard Othello as a man of action, a military leader, and a successful one, and also about his speech. Then his eloquent words and valiant action in battle have given him reputation and authority. And also, Nakia, this play also deals with the theme of reputation. We will talk about
Exactly.
that further as well, but the reputation is also a central theme of this play.
Yeah, honor and reputation. Also, basically, Othello wins Desdemona with his stories about his,
About
excellence
his
in war,
bravery.
bravery, and all that. And because at the time, I guess, being a knight, being a soldier, those concepts were really amazing to people and really solidified that those are the people of honor, the people of reputation, as you said. So yeah, but of course, even Othello, at the end of the play, as we said, he regained his status as the defender of the state by committing suicide.
Yes, the status is so important that he committed suicide in the
Exactly.
end.
He didn't want his name to be dishonored or his reputation to be dishonored, so it was better to just die, which is just increases the.
And I think this honor culture exists in our country as well.
Exactly.
Some people regard honor as the highest value, and sometimes they take their life as well. So I think this is a universal phenomena and exists in our country as well somehow because of many things.
Exactly.
About infidelity. As this play deals with it. So
This
yeah.
just you took this to a very dark turn of our culture, and it's really important to talk about things like we place such high standards on things as like even studies, even just careers our kids are gonna have, and put so much pressure onto them
Yes.
that it really breaks the core of the human being and how much they can take out the stress and take it, because of course to each their own, everyone has their own abilities, their own skills, and yeah, the pressure gets to a certain extent that people do actually prefer to be.
I think and the weight of the honor,
Yeah,
is put on the shoulder of a
on the
girl,
kids and
on the women especially.
yeah,
So I
of
think
course
this is also a sad reality.
it is.
Okay, let's
Move back to Iago's character.
yes, let's move to the villain of our story. So Lego declare early in the play like I am not what I am. So I think this line, is clearly mentions like what type of character he is.
And I really find it funny that you said you don't like his character, because I am in love with the character. I
Okay.
love how manipulative he is. I love how he controls every situation. He knows how to manipulate people and,
Yeah.
just how to use people in certain situations,
Yes.
how to see
How
what
to exploit their weaknesses.
exactly, and how to exploit their strengths and turn them into weaknesses, which is a really, I guess, important capability to have as a villain. But yeah, it is a
It is
bad.
interesting. We
It's
can
really,
say.
yeah, he's really interesting. So what I really like about it, because to be that kind of a manipulator, you have to be quite observant, and he was quite observant. Even
Yes.
when he was in the shadows, even when nobody was looking, the smallest of small things, he was watching, he was planning, and he was trying to, come up with a strategy to ultimately take down Othello.
And also, the audience might well leave the play wondering what Iago is and what his motivation for causing such utter destruction in the life for arguably innocent people.
Yeah.
This is, I think, unclear. Is he angry at being passed up for the promotion? Does he think Emilia has been sleeping with Othello? This petty motivations seem inadequate in the light of absolute throughness which Iago manipulate people around him. So I think his motives are unclear somehow, because how can someone bring such a destruction to
Yeah,
someone's life?
I guess this is like a Shakespearean thing. We're gonna witness amongst plays that there will always be a level of uncertainty towards these characters. Of course,
And
there
also
was
it deals with the uncertainty of human nature in general.
exactly
People
because
are uncertain.
yeah, because we're discussing this thing in Hamlet as well, how uncertain things were left, and there wasn't anything certain. And even in here, because Iago is the main driver of the plot, main driver of the story, so we see that okay, he himself even is like has this uncertain
I
motivation. We
am
don't
not what I am. He doesn't know about himself as well.
yeah, so it's really the thoroughness, his masterful like manipulation is like really amazes me.
Yes, and also if we talk about in detail how he, manipulate different characters. So he exploited Rodrigo's desire for Desdemona and his generous hand with wealth, and he leveraged Cassio's desire to please Othello, and he turns Desdemona kindness to Cassio against both herself and Othello, and he keys in one of the Othello's love for Desdemona as the one weak point in Othello's character. So I think he exploit weakness of every character.
Exactly, because he had a very watchful eye. He was observant, and so he knew how to manipulate situations very well, which is, I guess, his character.
And he knows, I think, what he is doing somehow. Through his dialogues we can take a guess that he knows when he talks with Othello. So I think some of the dialogues, I think, they clearly show what he was doing and
Of
what
course.
his motives was.
Of course, because early on we see when we will be discussing the summary as well that he was trying to sabotage uh, Othello from the start when Othello and Desdemona get married. He goes to Desdemona's father and tries to put it on reputation and honor, but luckily for Othello that it didn't take much turn. But yeah, we see from the start of the play, and even during the scenes where he's trying to have Casio and Rodrigo fight with each other, what he does, he's basically manipulating both sides, right? But when the fight actually happens, he's behind the shadows, and he's
Behind
like
the shadow,
lurking.
yes.
So yeah, it really sees that he is aware of what he is, even though he tries to be uncertain. But I guess the theme here would also be like he does not want to accept himself as the bad, you know person in this situation, because in his own right he is doing what's justifiable to him, even if it's for the promotion that was passed on him, or Emilia's infidelity.
But apart from this play, do you think people like Iago exist around us?
Oh yeah, they do.
Yeah, I think the innocent people become victim of these people, and these people exist around us. They have a very observant eye for our weaknesses, or sometimes our spirits. As he exploited the free spirit of Desdemona. So also I think we also sometimes we have that spirit, and people around us may exploit that spirit, may exploit our weaknesses or our good deeds. Sometimes
Yeah.
people take benefit of our good deeds as well. So let's move to the heroine of our play, the Desdemona. Okay, the Desdemona began with the play with strength and purpose. So she fall in love with Othello and act on her own to elope with him. So I think this is the very typical domain of Shakespeare play, the girl elope with a hero.
Yeah, but what I really like, and we were talking about this in the previous episodes about women in Shakespearean play, that some of the women really took actions, the matters into their own hands. They did not wait for their father to choose the man who they think she should marry. She went out, she loved a guy, and she married him.
Yes,
She
yes.
eloped, and that was, I guess, trying to go against the social conventions of issuing a woman, basically saying that, oh, the shrew kind of, the women who try to speak their mind, they would stereotype them as shrews, and as those women who are like, who need to be put down or be make obedient or some
I think the
stuff like that.
Shakespearean women are not passive
Yeah.
in their decisions, especially.
Exactly. What I really like about this play is that this was the first play, and Desdemona was the first female character to be played by a female, Margaret Hughes, and
Yes.
this was in 1660, right? So 1660, and so before this, both the characters of female and male were
Were
played
played by
by
male.
male. So this was Desdemona was, yeah, she be ruling even in the play, even in the actors. So I really like this fun fact about it.
Okay, if we talk about her in detail, then she is like unwavering in kindness with Cassio. So she was a very kind woman. Though no fault of her own, her independent spirit and goodness are used against her by Iago in his plot to ruin Othello. Yet her actions on her deathbed are curious. She is ready to take the blame. The whole thing was not her mistake, but she took the blame.
Exactly.
Why this happened?
Well, I think it really shows the ultimate, tries to show the ultimate power of her love towards and her faithfulness towards Othello, that
Yes.
even Othello's his own betrayal did not waver her from, her faithfulness towards Othello, and and she did not want him to blame himself or feel bad, and she was like, okay, I will take the blame myself. But there's another aspect of Desdemona that I find really interesting, and it's how she convinces Othello to let her join him to his expenditure of the military. When he tries to go back to the military troops and fight the war, what happens is she convinces him really smartfully and skillfully, I may say, to join him as well. So that power of convincing and arguing and just kind of getting her way,
Yes.
I find it really nice.
And these contradictions suggest that Desdemona idea of love of romantic adventure is a dangerous fantasy. Why dangerous fantasy? Because she died in the end. Okay, let's move to the another character, which is Cassio. The Michael Cassio has recently been appointed an Othello second in command, much to a chagrin of Iago, that never set the squadron in the field, nor the division of the battle. No, so I think Iago was quite jealous with this character, and Cassio flaws open him to the exploitation by Iago, who seek revenge for his appointment. So I think this was the man, who was exploited by Iago as
But
well.
yeah, of course he was. But the thing is, Casio's character is very himself. He's like more bras and brains. He doesn't have much brains. He
Yes,
wasn't very
he
active.
was a foolish man.
Yeah, he wasn't very active before this. So Iego's rejection to his post was kind of accepted for me as well, because okay, imagine you doing all the hard work and someone else just takes up your position, who never have been to battle, who's never taken charge, never been a leader of a division. So of course those themes are I guess recurring, and we see this kind of what we can say, like unfairness in employment by Othello. That Othello was unfair. Can I say that? Because I think he was.
Yes. And also there is one interesting point that he was also a flirt who tend to characterize women as Madonna or whore. I think this is also a worth discussing thing, that men typically get categorize women in two categories.
Good and bad woman.
Either as Madonna or whore.
Yeah, exactly. Like the only concept of two girls who exist. There's a
Yes.
good girl and there's a bad girl, and yeah, they have their in his head. Also, like we see that he cannot hold his alcohol well, which will be a reason why Diego has an opportunity to manipulate him as well.
Okay, let's move to the other character, which is Rodrigo. And this character was in love with Desdemona, and Rodrigo is wealthy and foolish. He provides a steady flow of income to Iago, who has promised to Rodrigo to woe Desdemona. So I think this character, has some bad intention as well towards Desdemona. So also he was also a desperate romantic.
Yeah. So in his case, because of his desperation, I don't think he had much of a bad intention, just the intention of like, getting married to Desdemona, and he felt somehow he was rejected, or, his honor was harmed by Desdemona when was Othello was chosen over him. So he was just a hopeless romantic before, but after that, that desperation, I guess, became his kind of downfall, and led him towards that negative aspect, negative character, vibe, I can say.
Okay. Let's move to the themes of this play. So I think the more prominent theme of this play is love. I think that love is the powerful force in the life of Desdemona and Othello, and the secret marriage is the spark that ignites the plot. So I think, what do you think, Nakia, that this play deals with a love affair and jealousy? So how, the love is demonstrated in this play? Is this was the love was tragic, or was this successful? Obviously, it was not successful.
Of course, yeah, it's a tragedy, and it was not successful in the end. But of course, we can see that when we talk about love, we are going to talk about love. Othello's love for Desdemona, Desdemona's love for Othello, and their love for each other, right, in a mutual setting. So we see that Desdemona's love was successful till the end. She did not waver from her faithfulness. She did not betray him in any sense. And even at her deathbed, she was like a hopeless romantic for Othello. She kept being faithful to him. On Othello's side, love took a dark turn, and it went into the themes of jealousy and all that. He became jealous and mistrusting, and the themes of infidelity and betrayal came into, because of, even we can, because of the influence of Iago, but still we see love in both a light and dark manner. We
Yes,
see
there is a binary
exactly, and we
of
see
black
it
and white.
exactly. We see love being a powerful force for them at the start of the play, to get married, to get eloped, even though her father was not approving of it, and it would have been difficult for Desdemona and Othello. They do get eloped, and after that, what we see is this driving her towards to the military. She her love for Othello drove her to joining him, in that military coup. After that, we see that, okay, love is taking a dark turn now, when Othello has these themes of jealousy and all that thing, and also Rodrigo's love for Desdemona. We see that love also had a bit of, we can say, not very, I guess, light-hearted moments. It was basically a villainous character on his side, and he was trying to steal Desdemona from Othello. So, of course, those theme of love from that binary thing, as you mentioned, is throughout the story.
And I think, these two couples are mentioned in the play Othello and Desdemona, and Iago and Emilia, and they have a very different relationship. Othello and Desdemona have a romantic relationship, perhaps too good to last. And in contrast, Iago and Emilia relationship is plagued by mistrust and misogyny. So I think the two couples, they are, in contrast with each other. That's also the beauty of Shakespeare's writing, that how he, uh, presented the two couples in front of us.
But what's tragic about both of them is that both husbands killed their wife. So even if there was like a hopeless romantic, or a story that was too good to be true, and there was misogyny and all that kind of theme, mistrust on the other side, it did convert to a similar ending for the both of them.
Okay, Nakia, I think we will end this discussion here, and we will continue this discussion in the next episode. And we have covered, the historical context of the play Othello, and characters, and, the theme of love. In the next episode, we are going to talk about the other themes, which are betrayal, honor, and some symbols of this play, which are used by Shakespeare. So stay tuned to this literary discussion, and we will continue this discussion in the next episode. Till then, take care. Allah Hafiz.